Good evening, friends. Many people ask me before even this session, what is this subject? It looks very strange, for the subject has a line that really puzzles them. And I had to say, that is how Krishnaji himself expressed a thought. Need you go through drunkenness to get sober? Need you go through drunkenness to get sober? That's a very puzzling expression to many who may not know the context. Therefore, to make matters a little easier, in brackets we have given pondering regimentation and discipline. So, friends, this is one of the very profound issues. Humanity visualizes discipline, and in its immaturity, most people think of discipline as some form of make a list of what you should do, how you should do, make a schedule, make a plan for the day, and like a robot or like a military person, go by that schedule, go by that plan, and so on. Most people succeed in failing. That is, they do not succeed. They make a plan and then throw the plan to the winds because their impulses, their urges, and their weaknesses for very many things are so strong that they neither go by their plans nor do they stop planning. Again, a new timetable, a new schedule, a new ideal, a new regimentation visualized. Tomorrow onwards, I am going to be so disciplined, da da da. This goes on. And human beings live in conflict, in self censure. That is, they condemn themselves. I don't have discipline. That is my problem. I am actually a very intelligent person. Whereas this other lady, who doesn't have even half as much intelligence as I have, because she has great discipline, she has gone ahead. And since I lack discipline, I am way behind. Goes on and all the mental chatter. And this is really childishness. While all over the world, in the West, in the East, everywhere, discipline is interpreted as a regimented life. You have a neighbor or you have a sister who gets up at 4, and 4 means 4:00 a.m., not even 5 minutes late. Then you say she is so disciplined. However, the truth of the matter is, while being able to work like a machine, being able to go by a plan, by a schedule, etc., can and does lead to some sort of success in some particular context or in a specific meaning of the word success, which could be productivity, which could be making money, which could be getting promotion, time to time, etc., etc. Alas, true discipline is not about making ourselves a machine. For in this kind of living like a machine, where we have somehow cultivated certain going by what we have planned, going by the schedule, in this kind of living, there is no true understanding of oneself. I must hasten to clarify that this kind of treating the topic in no way means you live in a wanton manner. Whenever you feel like eating, you eat. Don't worry about any plans and rules or norms or morals, ethics. Just throw them all to the winds and eat when you want to eat, sleep when you want to sleep, slap somebody when you feel like slapping him. If that way you think that is discipline, there, in South India we say Govinda, Govinda. This Govinda, Govinda means everything is gone. In North India, I learnt a word while I lived 10 years in Rajghat. They use the word, sab chaupat ho gaya. Chaupat means all gone to winds. Oops, something gone wrong. Connection gone. Why did this happen?
Recording in progress.
Yeah, there was
There was
a echoing. Again,
Swamiji, do you want to connect the iPhone?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a technical
Yes, you are
problem.
audible.
Yeah, so I'll continue with my iPhone. I was using the laptop and that gave some big problem for a moment. Okay, I'm using the smartphone and continuing. All right. Regimentation, I was saying, can produce results, but is regimentation, which means you make strict rules for yourself, for your group, for your organization, for your family, and so on. And as a result, it appears that many things are going on okay now. Earlier, everything was in disorder. So we have a very immature understanding of order or disorder. It may be said people like Hitler were very disciplined, but was that discipline, if you call it discipline, of any value at all, where he lacked either understanding of himself or understanding of those whom he wanted to kill and so on. Some of you may have seen in the 1960s, there was a very, very well-received movie, English movie going around in India too, in all the major cities it came, Sound of Music. There was an army man who, out of his first marriage, had 8 to 10 children. And I guess, if I remember right, his first wife passed away. And then he took care of those 8 to 10 children by appointing some kind of lady, and he himself also, military discipline. Military discipline. He would make all of them come to breakfast also by blowing a whistle. And when he whistles, all of them come left, right, left, right. Of course, a little humorous and little dramatized. Those 8 to 10 children, boys and girls, had to come. Otherwise, the father, who was a captain in the army formerly, would punish them severely. And they had to learn various subjects. They had a timetable. But all of them were suffering inside. There was no joy of life. And that is when the heroine of the movie, Sound of Music, even now it's worth seeing. It's an all-time classic. The young lady comes. She comes, I guess, for a job. She takes the job of being the supervisor for the children of that captain. But her ways are very different. Her ways are full of love, full of music, full of, giving freedom to children. She makes them sing, she makes them dance, she teaches them how to enjoy beautiful natural spots, maybe green lawns, slopes in the countryside, and sunrise, or some bees, some birds flying around. She encouraged them to watch, to look, and all that with various songs. She would sing her way to educating those children. And towards the end, as the movies, have an interesting story, the captain slowly realizes it's not by regimentation, it's not by causing fear in my children, it's not by having a whip in my hand that I can educate these children to make them holistically developed children. It's through love. And Maria, I think her name was Maria. Maria, this new employee under me, has the way. Through love, she has made all these children blossom. And so on it goes, and the captain marries Maria, and some romance, all that. Now, without making it very long, for I realized that all the members in this group have heard, have heard and studied quite a lot of all this. Therefore, once you get a basic idea, um, many examples or much elaboration is not required. Therefore, friends, let me speak for 2 or 3 minutes more. There is a certain way of going about our own life or about the life of others who, in a sense, look up to us, where we put pressure, where we generate fear in them, where it is all, as they call it, carrot and stick. Carrot means reward. You behave as I want you to behave, I give you a reward. And stick means punishment. You don't behave the way I want you to do, then I give you some punishment. That is childish. Therefore, I come down to the title. Do you have to go through drunkenness in order to get sober? With the aim being getting sober, balanced. If somebody drinks and says, well, this is the stepping stone, eventually I'll become sober. There's a contradiction. So to complete my submissions or conclude my submissions, I draw from Krishnaji's, wonderful light on this matter. He has said the means and the end have to be alike. So as the means, so the end. Perhaps even in understanding this principle of the means and the end cannot be opposed to each other, there needs to be some maturity. For even among Gandhians, there is this same philosophy, right means to the right end. And all of us know now that a whole lot of so-called Gandhians went about this right means to right end very superficially or very compartmentalized manner or in a very partial manner. Like, I want to treat somebody with love, and I show love on a very superficial level. Inside, I am so full of hatred for that man, let us say. Then what's happening? You are not fully aware. You are speaking softly, but inside you are boiling. So is that love at all? Now, let me not go to discussion on Gandhi and or Gandhiism. However, I'll conclude this way: the means and the end cannot be opposed to each other. Likewise, in true discipline, we come upon freedom, and in the so-called regimentation, we deny to ourselves freedom. We force ourselves to do things, and as though that is not enough, we regret, we feel guilty, we feel ashamed, and so on. Many negativities arise in our going about the so called discipline. Therefore, the means we employ to arrive at true discipline is fraught with contradictions. That is how don't go through drunkenness to get sober. Sobriety or being sober is the way to being sober. Being loving is the way to being loving, and so on. So let me pause here. I invite you to express your views, to differ where you, in your heart of hearts, differ in your outlook. Thank you.
Harshad sir.
Yes. Are you able to hear my voice?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Swamiji. When I read this title of the first title of this talk about drunkenness and soberness, I remember the Osho technique of meditation in his ashram, where for 10-15 minutes, all the people, his disciples, they make a lot of noise and they laugh or cry, dance, and excite themselves. And then suddenly they all stop after 10-15 minutes, and by this contrast of making a lot of noise and then suddenly stopping, they feel that silence is enhanced. So that is kind of a technique Rajneesh was using to produce silence by making a lot of noise in the beginning. But the second title which you gave, the word discipline, it reminded me of the word disciple, and disciple means student. So a student who doesn't have discipline is not a student, cannot learn. And it means to learn also, discipline means. So either that discipline which is required, either it can be imposed by force or that discipline come from within. And that is what Krishnaji wanted in his school, not the discipline imposed on students by the authority of the teacher or by punishment, but by understanding and talking with students. When I joined Rishi Valley School in 1980, I was very mild teacher, and I was teaching 8th standard student, and they were very noisy. They were not interested in listening to me, and I told them that to teach mathematics is my responsibility, and to learn mathematics is your responsibility. And if you don't take the responsibility of learning, you are the loser. And your parents, they spend a lot of money on your education. And if you waste time like this, you will suffer in the end. But the students, they did not understand what I was telling, because there is a lot of disturbance in their mind, and that produce disturbance, outward disturbance. And so this went on. I was telling in many different ways that I don't want to become like a police that punish you to make you listen. But even then, they were not understanding. And after a few days, some boys came to my hostel and they said, "Sir, you will have to be very strict, otherwise, we will not listen to you." But I cannot be strict. So what is the other way? So what I did, that every day I will call 3 or 4 students, especially those who were making noise, to my room, and I will talk with them about many, many things. What is happening in their family, or what is there something disturbing you? Do they really want to learn? And I am very happy to teach them. And when they realize that I really cared for them, then they slowly became more responsive, and they were able to, and that was the best batch I had, and they did very well also in the end. Ah, hmm, but I wanted to tell something. Hmm. Okay. Uh, okay, I don't remember right now, but I would say that discipline, which comes from understanding from within, in that it produces a very good result. But when the discipline is imposed on them and they resist, and with that resistance, they try to become quiet, there will be more conflict in them, and that conflict is a waste of energy. And even if they do very well, it doesn't mean much. But learning is enjoyment, and without enjoyment, if we people are just forcing themselves to learn the subject like history or mathematics, many students don't like these subjects and they force themselves because there is no other way. And that forcing themselves to study, that creates a lot of um, conflict, resistance, and waste of energy. So I think it is the responsibility of, maybe in a school situation, the responsibility of teacher to show to student that there is a possibility of learning without resistance. And yes, I remember now that when I was in the 6th standard in a school, I was not interested in learning any subject. And I used to sit on the last bench. And there was one big boy. He was also not interested in learning. And he used to bother me a lot, pinching me. And he was very strong. And so I was afraid to tell the teacher that this boy is bothering me. But one day the teacher noticed that that big boy was bothering me. And the teacher said, "Why don't you come on the first bench and sit there?" So from last bench, I started sitting on the first bench in the class. And at the end of that year, I was the best student in the class because I was able to pay attention and the teacher was very affectionate. And so I began to take interest in learning mathematics and other subjects. And then when I came to 7th standard, after 6 months, 4 boys, me and other 3 boys, we were promoted to 8th standard. And after another 6 months, we were promoted to 9th standard. So we did 7th and 8th standard in 1 year. And that is because one teacher noticed something, and then he was also 4 of us boys. He was inviting us to his house, and he would give some breakfast or something he will cook for us. And so because of that kind of affection, it begin to change our life. So then the discipline comes naturally when you like the teacher, and then teacher is ready to help you. And so that can apply not only to student, but I think to any human being working in the office or anywhere. So um, discipline is necessary for learning because it means learning, disciple. And without that, we cannot learn anything. Either we learn it through imposed discipline, which doesn't help in the end, or discipline coming from within, which really helps. And then nobody needs to tell you, get up at 4 o'clock or 6 o'clock. You get up on your own. Okay, thank you very much.
Dinesh ji.
Are you able to hear me, sir?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, yeah.
I will straightway come to the subject. According to me, this is a debatable subject. Why debatable subject? Because again, here is a question of uniqueness. Whatever JK says is applicable to the persons who are either suffering or very curious with passion and energy of freedom. Such persons are very few. Moreover, to understand JK, a minimum qualification of intelligence is required. Also, what JK says is with full of conditions, like discipline. He has used discipline word in his own way, basically. Typically JK style. It is not normal, but we know what JK said about discipline. You also know what traditional meaning of discipline is. So he said discipline means to learn. Everybody is not interested in learning the way JK is saying. The JK, whatever JK says, it is a typical way. Everybody may not be interested in that. Discipline is freedom, he said. As Swamiji also said, the freedom based on JK's perception is unique, not dependent on authority, pattern, etc. In such case, there is a chance of a teenager going in opposite direction. So you have to control whenever is a question of teenager, mob, or students, we can say, as Harshad sir said, you have to have some discipline in a traditional way. So, okay, whatever questioner asked, then he has said to typical questioners answers he has given, JK has given, but it is only for that person. That's what I think. Again, he said intelligence will not go to the extreme, as Swamiji said. It will neither go to this polarity or neither go to that polarity. But that intelligence, one has to reach that intelligence, one has to have self-knowledge or complete in a way JK's learning. What JK said, and then what is the meaning of conditioning, what is the meaning of self-knowing and all that. What is the meaning of seeing? So there are so many conditions. A sensitive mind cannot be disciplined. So he should have, a person should have sensitive mind also. Suppose his mind is not sensitive, then what will happen? Do you mean to say that he cannot be disciplined or he cannot go to that discipline? In first case, man should reach to intelligence level and his understanding. Also, there are so many conditions. For example, you should not conform, not to imitate the pattern of any accepted authority noble. Learning is freedom, we have already talked. Freedom of perception of seeing. Discipline is freedom. Uh, a sensitive mind cannot be disciplined. If you understand the whole significance of discipline, there is an extraordinary discipline which is out of freedom, which is not controlled. Now again, this is a very tricky line what he said. If you understand the whole significance of discipline, there is an extraordinary discipline which is outcome of freedom, which is not controlled. So man should have that intelligence by which we should understand what JK is saying. The discipline you practice is out of fear, out of punishment or reward, out of gaining something you want. If you practice discipline, such discipline makes the brain dull and insensitive. Whatever we, in fact, we see that body follows the mind and uh, mind follows the body. So both follows each other. So whatever he says, only with the understanding can the discipline will come. Okay, in his unique case that is possible. But what about others? So again and again he has said that don't follow me, try or experiment yourself. So this is the question. These are the questions which one has to ponder himself on those questions and then should find out. I am having grandchildren and I am seeing how he is learning. He doesn't, he is just 2 years old now and he is just seeing you and watching you and follows you. That's all. So he is very curious in seeing what you are doing. So this is what a boy does. So if you are not disciplined, how that a boy can be disciplined? This discipline I am using in JK's work. Okay. Now another thing is in outer world we see the traditional discipline gives you many things, and it is a must to get to earn bread and butter. So if you want to only go to inner world and you have to have, Swamiji said success in inner world also, then one has to be really on his foot or toes or whatever it is, and then he has to work very hard because it is very difficult to understand JK also and to follow world also. Means to not to follow the world and still to follow the world, both things. So such kind of understanding one should have. So it is very difficult. These are my views because this is a fact. Whatever we are saying, this is a fact. That and that is the reason what I think that very few people are attracted towards JK because of these many things or many conditions. Yes, so I was talking about my grandchildren. So he is just following me, and I say to him that don't do this and don't and do this. He doesn't accept that thing unless you are following that or you are doing this. So suppose he goes to school, then he is a representative of his family in a way, and then he is having a bubbling energy which is coming out of him. So what he will do? He is more interested in playing and whatever freedom he wants to use in the direction of his means whatever freedom available to him, he wants to use it in the direction which he wants to. So how can you then tell him to learn in a JK's way? Very, I think this is to be answered. Thank you. Swamiji, any comments?
Yeah, yeah. I listened very attentively to both Harshad ji and Dinesh ji. And Dinesh ji brought the matter to even more of day-to-day practical considerations by giving the example of his grandchildren. As we have been saying, even grown-up adults cannot grasp these subtler aspects of discipline and freedom. What to talk about little children? Therefore, really speaking, our whole life is like Gandhiji's autobiography was titled. Everybody's life is experiments with truth. We may read big books, we may give big lectures, even on J. Krishnamurti, but when it comes to really our personal private life, when old habits, old tendencies, various urges rise, we lose sight of what it is we really want. And rather than being attentive or being aware of what we really want, we become highly focused on some superficial gain. I want to achieve, I want the first prize, I want to be on the victory stand, I want to be respected in the society, I want people to be praising me, and all this rise in us so powerfully. Or why talk of fame, name, and even sense pleasures? When after a long time you see some sweets of your choice, maybe you were not thinking about it for months, but suddenly you come across somewhere it is available. You know how your brain acts. The brain says, leave all philosophy and go for a piece, maybe of Mysore Pak, and then a second one, then a third one, till you feel like vomiting. So the challenges of discipline are enormous, for there is so much of mess. Harshadji also talked about how when he was trying to teach mathematics, the children were doing noise. I too had the same experience when I went to ninth standard class, ninth standard science. They were throwing paper rockets into the air when I entered the class. And then I stood there for 5 minutes. Most of the children noticed that I had come to the class, the teacher. This was in 2004 or so. But one or two boys, can you believe, they were totally unaware that the teacher has come into the classroom, and this strange looking Swamiji in orange robes. In 2004, I was in orange robes, full orange shirt and orange saffron dhoti. They cared, and they did not care for all that. They were in their own world, and they were making a paper rocket and throwing in the air. So the practical realities are not only those children, but even you and me on maybe another level are in our own world, our fancies, our likes and dislikes, our ambitions, or you may call our dreams. If a journalist interviews us, we may say, I have no dream. I just want to live in awareness, blah, blah, out of reading the books. But actually, even as we say to that journalist or a TV interviewer that I have no dreams at all, after deeply appreciating Krishnamurti, Ramana, and so on, I have no dreams. I go one day at a time. We may say some high flown statement, but part of our mind will be saying, I hope this TV show will be appreciated by the maximum number of people when it is aired live or later. So, without making it very long, I wish to submit that the truths are truths, whether we understand them or not, whether we are able to really live up to them or not. And I think our appreciating the truths very sincerely from the bottom of our heart is never a waste. Uh, Though, in one sense, it is said time is not a factor in inner transformation. From a third party point of view, a third party's point of view, the third party may say that, look, this gentleman is struggling with the high teachings of Krishnamurti and others, but we don't see any change in him. He is, in fact, apparently going from bad to worse, they may say. But I think if you are participating in dialogues, if you are studying, and here and there you have moments of really great thrill. Wow, how nicely this is put. It is true. It is true. Suppose there are those moments of deep, sincere appreciation with no pressure upon us. Somewhere certain insights will dawn upon us, and those insights will transform us. And the transformation doesn't happen when we schedule it. Okay, coming Monday, I hope to have a transformation. You can never say. Transformation happens probably as an accident. So, in morning, we may suddenly see I don't get attracted to something where I had attraction for decades, etc. So, friends like Harshadji and Dineshji also contributed with very great sincerity and without being bookish. I would say, yes, this is the truth. Today's topic is a very challenging topic. I would like to hear others, and I would like to stay with this session till 7:30 today. Luckily, some other session got cancelled, which I had at 7. I will fully like to hear. Sometimes it is necessary for even learned people to just keep their mouth shut and listen to others who might not have read even a single book. So I would like to listen now. Thank you, friends.
Thank you very much, Chidanandji. I would like to know from Waghmare sir, what is this extraordinary discipline? Extra has got no meaning. There is a discipline with freedom only. There is no discipline without freedom.
You may be correct, sir, but we are talking of discipline in the traditional way, traditional meaning we are talking of. And when it comes to the education and small people, small students and all that, or students, so things are different because I am seeing in my house itself my 2-year-old grandchildren, how he behaves and how he is learning. He is learning whatever we are doing, he is learning. He doesn't listen, but he listens to us only the name or whatever we gave to him. So that only he learns, but otherwise he is just seeing and learning.
In my opinion, whatever your son is doing, whatever your grandson is doing, is nothing but
What happened? Yeah, in case of son, the case is different because he is facing corporate world. So
who is
the
facing
outer,
corporate world? Who is facing corporate world?
my son, he is in
He is
Tata Motors.
facing corporate world.
He is in Tata Motors, and so he is facing his own. He is having external pressures also. So he is conditioning. He is getting conditioned according to them. I tried to explain him many things, but he said, "Yeah, sir, you whatever Baba you say, that is not practical." He straightway rejects. because his actuality is different, and whatever we are saying is different. Because whatever we say is it requires lot of patience and lot of other things, which this younger generation with lot of energy, they try to remain away from it. They don't show that much patience and all that. And
Actuality
their
remains same
aims
with
are
you. Actuality remains same with you and with him also. You just feel like this. If you talk of
maybe,
actuality, actuality is the same.
maybe,
But you
maybe,
feel like this. He has got
maybe.
a different, because you yourself are distributing the things. First you are saying this Krishnamurti says like this, tradition says like this. If you divide these things in this fashion, then you get confused. That is what I feel.
Sir, I don't divide. Things are already divided. World is
Divided,
already fragmented.
divided.
Yeah,
Great,
if you see,
great, great.
if you see
You are divided. You
openly,
are divided, so things remain divided for you. If you are not divided, they are not divided. Just
maybe.
ponder over it, please.
I'm not talking here about me.
No, you are talking,
I may
you
not be,
whatever
I
you
may
talk
be,
is
I
about
may
you
not be.
only, sir.
That doesn't
Sir,
matter.
sir, sir, please take a note. Whatever you talk about yourself only. Take it that way.
Okay, okay, accepted.
Thank you. Thank you.
Deep, sir.
Yes, yes. Audible, I am.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, friends. Thank you. Good evening. As everybody said, today's topic is very challenging and very interesting. Of course, it is. So, the only truth is, what is this? The only truth that I know, that I understand that way. Whenever I use the word we dilute it to certain extent and join the crowd. Otherwise, if somebody will ask you immediately, what are you talking about this we, will be absolutely blank. So I use, or I have seen people using the word we frequently to join the crowd or a narrative. Today's topic, that need you go through drunkenness to get sober? The word you used in this topic is for all of us, each one of us. So straight away I take it to myself. And this triggers imagination. I start imagining what is drunkenness in this topic. What is sobriety, sober, right? Then each of us is conditioned differently. This conditioning is drunkenness. We are already drunken to a large extent. This is what I feel. So much of drunkenness already, though a mild one, because it doesn't strike you immediately. In our lifestyle, it is ingrained very deeply, conditioning. We may not use this word drunkenness because it's an extreme condition when you're not able to see anything or walk properly even. Deep seated in us is societal morality and a lot of what should be's. Clever intellect knows what to answer. We know how to answer. Immediately, if I go through this topic, immediately I will say no, drunkenness is not required, and to become sober, this is not the way. So, in another word, regimentation is an extreme condition, where you don't exist even. I don't exist in regimentation. I'm totally a slave to someone for some reason. So this is the actual situation, actual how I took up this topic and started thinking about where do I stand. So each one of us has to see in himself. Harshad ji also talked about, always he talks about that, your own thoughts, your own life, moment to moment, this and that and that. So ultimately, if I don't take it to myself straight and I am the world, how much realization we have about this after getting such a big thing from Krishnamurti, you are the world, or Deepak Chopra, you are the universe, or even scientific conditions. You go on dividing and ultimately you become nothing. Even the space is quantized and so many things. So ultimately, what I am and how do I feel in my day-to-day life and how others feel around me, that is the only concern. That is only, I must watch everything in me, around me. So this is the only thing I can do. Most of the topics relate to that, how it affects me, not my point of views, me, moment to moment. Right now, Krishnamurti talked about let's together, we are exploring together. But if we each of us has a view, some sort of conclusion, then probably that togetherness or exploration is not happening through us. So this is what I feel, friends. I'm frankly have uh, put my words straight. Thank you very much for giving me this time. If Swamiji has to say something, I'll be obliged in a way.
Swamiji.
Yeah. 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 I would say that our awareness sometimes is looking at things superficially. At times, this awareness is able to notice hidden motives in us, hidden fears. As regards this evening's topic also, when there are moments where we are we are staring at those hidden fears, certain truer form of discipline may open up for us. But if there is a lot of mental chatter, a lot of defending a view, and very much like that, having a strong dislike towards another view, another belief, we stand by our belief and we are dead against another belief, then in that atmosphere, there is not much chance for this higher form of discipline. Then we only choose, as the expression goes, the lesser evil. Very sad part of human life is many a time man compromises. He says, let's go for the lesser evil. Collectively and individually, we human beings take a number of decisions where it is choosing the lesser evil, for we are just lost. We don't know how to lay our hands on the truly good. We only see two evils and we opt for lesser evil. Therefore, friends, if I may call it a practical front, it seems to me that day after day, moment after moment, we need to kind of regather ourselves and try to walk the right path. Don't let energies fritter away. We need great stamina for walking this path of true quest. And that stamina means energy. That's all I can say at this moment, Pradeep ji. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Dean.
Yeah, so I hope my voice is clear. So, this question of drunkenness and sobriety, whether you need to go through drunkenness to become sober. And Pradeep ji said that in a way we are already drunken and we are not completely aware. In that sense, we are conditioned and we are living in unawareness. So the question is, the person who is unaware, that person is not aware. He doesn't even know that he is not aware. And he accepts whatever his views, thoughts, conditioning as truth. And he is not able to see that as only a conditioning, not truth. So generally we are unaware and we believe our own thoughts and opinions and beliefs. So one person believes he is belonging to one group and the other person belonging to other group. And these labels are accepted as truth. So that is, I am not sure whether you have to go through unawareness to know awareness. It also assumes that there is something behind the unawareness that is aware, and somehow there is an awareness of the unawareness. But generally, a person who is drunk is not sober. So there is no hidden sobriety in that drunkenness. So this question of awareness and thought has always been with me for a very long time. And whether thought can be aware at all, whether conditioning can be aware of itself, or there has to be, at least the example of drunkenness and sobriety, I feel obviously the drunkenness has to stop for there to be a moment of sobriety. So there has to be a gap in the awareness, somehow unawareness, somehow for us to know awareness. I don't think both can go together. But of course, Krishnaji has talked about being aware of unawareness and being aware of thought. But that also doesn't really, I feel, doesn't have anything to do with unawareness. There is, the unawareness is not aware of itself, basically, that's what I want to say. So, as far as I understood, Krishnaji, for Krishnaji, the word discipline and learning, they go together. It's the same word, actually, discipline and learning. And learning and awareness is also the same thing. So the question is then, why are we unaware? And what is the shift which takes place from unawareness to awareness? Are we going to drink ourselves to know what is sobriety? I don't think so that would work. Frankly, I don't feel that would work. Because you will remain unaware. If you expect somehow that if you engage in unawareness, it will finally, it's like a person who will say that I'll eat so much of what I like that finally I'll feel I'll hate that thing what I like to eat, and then I'll drop it. So we expect that negation or dropping to come by that way, but I don't think so that happens. But maybe Krishnaji is a pointer, and he also says there is no time involved. Be aware. So somehow there, even to listen to him, there should be some gap in the thinking. Otherwise, you can't even listen to him. So that is just an opportunity, that gap to listen to something different to which he is pointing to. But we may fall back into our own conditioning in daily life. So our daily life doesn't match to those words, but it provides an opportunity. So why does this change not occur after listening to him? Why do we go along the same path? Why does that negation not happen? The dropping of a tool which which is unaware basically, and I consider thought and unawareness to be the same. So why can't we drop that tool and for the mind to be have a certain silence to look at itself and listen to others? But it's a mystery to me. I don't know why. Why that negation doesn't happen? But of course, and listening in silence to K is an opportunity for that to happen. And then also, if we have some awareness, at least some gaps in our daily life, some gaps of thought, then that is also an opportunity. But it's of course very difficult because we are bombarded with thoughts outside and we constantly reacting to them, and there is no gap. Yeah, so I would like to explore this negation more, and not try to find a relationship between unawareness and awareness. Saying developing different methods, like Harshadji said about Osho, different methods or whatever. Yeah, maybe the negation topic I'm interested in. Thank you.
Swamiji.
Yeah, negation. Was it not Adeen who was speaking?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So I didn't see his name on the screen, but I guessed it is him. I saw him video, of course. So like awareness, which has vast significance, this negation also is with countless applications. I'm using a word from technology. How in technology, you talk about a truth that scientists would have found, and then technologists or industry finds out number of applications. So coming back, this negation is in its essential form seeing something to be false. When I see something that is false, that seeing itself results in negation. You mistake, let us say, a seashell which is shining. It's a cheap, almost worthless seashell on the beach which is shining. You mistake it to be silver and you walk towards it thinking of picking it up. And as you get close to it, you realize that this is not silver at all. This is not silver. My notion, my idea that it was silver was false. And that seeing makes you let go of your wanting to pick up that piece of shining object. Likewise, at certain stages of human life, of you and me, we believe violence is the way, there is no other way. Meet violence with violence. But upon some more reflection, upon looking at it, upon our awareness scanning as though that belief in violence, we realize that no, violence is not the way. If everybody goes for the philosophy of violence, like Gandhiji or somebody had said, you know, eye for an eye. He referred to the philosophy of an eye for an eye. And he rightly said, if you go for an eye, very soon the whole world will be blind. We remove each other's eyes. There was again a leader, say 100 years ago, I guess. Was it Mussolini? Some of you may know better. Mussolini, I think. He made a statement. Peace is gained through the barrel of the gun. And such statements, excite a lot of people. Peace is to be gained through the barrel of the gun. But really speaking, we mess up the world more and more by going by such slogans. So let me not go for any other quotes or examples. Through certain intelligence, when we see certain stance we take is false, it is just a crazy idea with no proper basis or no proper substance in it. It's just giving me pleasure to think in that way, but really it is an unhealthy position I am taking. Then negation takes place. This is, that's why I very much appreciate you are giving importance or you are expressing great interest in negation. Negation is the great, shall I call it, a phenomenon in human psyche when the false drops and the truth has an opportunity to rise forth, emerge. Thank you.
May I make a comment?
Yes, sir.
If anybody else wants to speak, otherwise I will make a comment.
Prasad sir, do you want to say something?
Yes, sir.
Do you have to say something, Prasad sir?
Yes, sir. Nothing much to say, but I will say. Sir, the way I understand it is, there is a small saying in Telugu, Kamikaka moksha kamikadu, which means unless you go after women, you won't go after God or enlightenment. So first you have to go through life. That is, you see the futility of all these things. So you have to experience first. Then you can think of enlightenment or God or divinity or whatever. First you go through life, the attractions of life. So this is a small saying in Telugu. That is it. I think this topic contradicts that statement. It's an opposite of that. That is, you don't have to go through all this. I mean, even people like Osho, their ashram and all that, they revel in sexual experiences and all that. Krishnaji never, he's not against sex, but he has never advocated indulgence, too much of indulgence. So you don't have to be a drunkard first to see the value of sobriety. That is, I think, the scope of this topic. You don't have to, I think Mr. Adeen or somebody has said, we are already, I think Pradeep ji has said, we are already drunken. Drunken in the sense we are conditioned already. Yes, that is true. We are all partly drunken because we are all conditioned in one way or the other. So, drunkenness is quite common. Not that spirituous drunkenness, but generally in the sense of conditioned approach to life. We are that. So, need you go through drunkenness to get sober? You don't have to first experience yourself. There's a saying also, wise men learn from others' experiences. Only not so wise men learn through personal, they wait for personal experience to get personal experience. You don't have to put your finger in fire to realize that it will burn. When the other person gets burned, you can learn from that. So you don't have to go through drunkenness to get sober, to know the value of sobriety or to know what is sobriety. You don't have to go through all that. That is the scope for me. And then this regimentation and discipline. Regimentation and discipline. Discipline in the sense of a systematic practice. So most religions prescribe some practice. You have to go to mosque 5 times a day, or you do namaz 5 times a day. That is a prescription. It's almost like a medical prescription. So that type of discipline it doesn't give you insight. When you understand, according to Krishnaji, discipline, a disciple is one who is learning, not one who is practicing these chores. So when you get an insight into it, once you get an insight, your conditioning drops automatically. Like, I think when you realize the scope and meaning of a statement like, you have invented God. Once you understand the scope of that, import of that, then automatically you no longer stick to going to temple and all that. Temple going and mantra chanting and all these things will drop automatically. So what is required is insight. is it not really true that you have created God? Here in Asia, you have created one type of God. In Europe, you have created another type of God. Middle East, some other type of God. So once you realize that Africa has its own gods, so once you realize that, so in discipline is not necessary, regimentation is not necessary. Regimentation, it only makes your mind dull, mechanical. And that is what is happening to our soldiers. They are regimented. That is an area where regimentation is propagated. It is valued, but in at least in non-army matters, like we are not in that army and all that. We are out of that, kind of discipline. We are free at least. So regimentation has no value. It has only, it makes you mechanical. So discipline is learning. So you have to learn. So spiritual quest is learning, not practicing some system. Thank you, sir.
May I say a few sentences?
Yes.
Sir, let Harshad Parekh say and finish it, please.
Okay.
He was waiting.
Yes. Few days ago, here I am in Rishi Valley, one young lady teacher, she was quite new and very mild, and she had difficulty to deal with noisy students. So she came to me and asked me what she should do to make student quiet in the classroom. So I told her that if she, when she enters the classroom, when she is very quiet and affectionate and can put her hand on the shoulder of students and tell them, let us all settle down, then maybe when the student feels some affection and no reaction coming from the teacher, then I think it works. And also I told her that in Commentaries on Living, there is an article titled Noisy Child and the Silent Mind. And in that article, some teachers had come to Krishnaji to discuss about noise in the classroom, and during that dialogue, the teachers felt that when they went to the classroom and when they were very silent and affectionate, it really affect the student. So I think it is the responsibility of the teacher to learn a different way of creating interest in the student and uh, to create attention. And in that attention, in a short time, a lot can be learned and the syllabus can be completed, because many times teachers are afraid that if students are going to create noise, they will not be able to complete the syllabus. But I never worried about that. In a short time, a lot can be done when there is the right atmosphere in the classroom. And but this is also applicable not only the schools but everywhere. If our mind is silent, very clear, we can work efficiently, whatever we have to do, what we have to learn. Even in the relationship, it helps when you don't react when somebody criticizes you. So finally, the responsibility comes to the person who feels that there is a problem and he really wants to learn how to deal with that problem. So it comes learning by oneself, by looking at one's own mind. Like if I get angry, if somebody says something, I can't tell the other person not to disturb me, but I have to find out what is it makes me angry, what is behind it. So, learning is possible for people who are interested in learning, and there is a possibility of real transformation, I would say, that we can live a different way of living, and we can enjoy everything, whether we are walking alone in nature or talking with people, we can really listen. Okay, I thank you very much.
Chidanandji, I will like to listen a minute's voice after 7:30 from your end.
Sure, why not?
Please.
Yeah. So I guess we have had good discussion on this topic. Finally, none of us should just take cover behind something we read, something we got from a book. We must closely examine whether we are going by some borrowed norm and living a duplicate life, or whether whenever we do something, we have intelligently watched or questioned our own thought, word, or deed. So, wriggling out of mechanicalness, wriggling out of being a duplicate person, there is a chance for every one of us to discover what true discipline is. In true discipline, we don't conform, though in a third party's eyes, we may seem to be conforming. Somebody may say, look, he is doing exactly as someone else did 10 years ago. That is the third party's opinion. But today, if this man or this lady is doing something out of authentic or original understanding, seeing its value, then that is true discipline, where everything is flowing from following uh, first-hand understanding. A duplicate person is always second-hand person. First-hand means you yourself know. You know it is fire, therefore you don't put your finger into it. But if you don't put your finger into it because nobody else is putting his finger into it, then you are a second-hand person. Therefore, friends, all this boils down to giving intelligence a chance rather than conditioned thought. Yes.
Thank you. Happy Dasara to all. Please end it, Modak.